So you don't understand what it is to be American anymore.
Well, you tell me.
I think
we got 350 million people here. What unites them?
The opportunity.
What opportunity? Economic opportunity?
Opportunity to live a life of your own making, to succeed or fail on your own merits.
Okay, so the meritocracy, to be judged by what you do, not what you look like.
That's right.
Okay. So every institution in American life, almost without any exception at all, has abandoned that standard and now has something called DEI or diversity hiring or
not anymore.
Affirmative action.
You just had an administration strip it all out.
They all do. Still in place. I mean, they're fighting it. But where were you when every institution decided to hire on the basis of sex and race, which is the opposite of the standard you're describing?
Why did they do that?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, from my perspective,
yes,
it's an attempt to destroy the West. And because what is the West? You said it yourself. What is America? You said it's a place where you can rise or fall on your own merits. And that's the one thing that's been destroyed. So I actually agree with you, but we don't have that anymore. And
it was destroyed. Was it destroyed when women were given the vote or when minorities were given the vote?
Well, of course not.
Okay, because there had been a system that was limiting.
But women were given the vote in 1919 and minorities were given, minorities had the vote in a lot of places, some they didn't, but the Civil Rights Act was 1965. So it's been 60 years.
So the point is, look, I get that. I get what the frustration with DEI was. I understand.
No, it's not the frustration. It's that it gets to the fundamental question of what is it? I asked you, what's an American? You said, you don't know what it is to be an American. I said, I really don't. I want to, and I think we need to figure that out. And you said, I know what it is. It's anyone who comes here can rise or fall on his own merits. And I said, where were you when that was destroyed? It's totally destroyed. And we need to rebuild it. It's not about white men being mad, white rage. Thank you, Mark Milley. It's about the principle that undergirds the whole country. It's what it is to be American, and they took it away. And no one said anything about it. And anyone who did was called a racist.
No, listen, I get the cancel culture concerns. And
it's not cancel culture. It's like fundamental, dude. Since we don't have that.
No, I'm saying being called racist for saying what you just said is a function of cancel culture.
Yeah,
and it's unfair.
Who cares about that?
But what I'm saying is this. You didn't have minorities being given the opportunities because they were minorities. That was something that America wanted to correct because it is the opposite of equality. Okay. And it was the same with women. And that's what you should be trying to do.
No.
Not to the exclusion of anyone else, not to the exclusion of merit, but you don't want people held back because of who or what they are.
Either people, as you said, I'm just quoting you, my oracle.
Thank you.
That what it is to be an American is to participate in a system that judges you on the basis of what you do,
yes,
not on who you are, where you came from, what your parents did, or what they look like.
Land of opportunity.
Land of opportunity. And I pressed, what does that mean? And you said what I just said. And so every institution in American life to this day, the meaningful ones, the universities, the large corporations, the federal government, to this day has abandoned that and moved aggressively in the other direction. There are federal set-asides, the ladders of success, the merit badges that we require to enter these institutions, mostly in education, totally determined by race and sex. And that's the opposite of what you said. So then, and that's been going on for 60 years. So, okay, so clearly it's not the land of opportunity. What is it?
No, I believe
it's a giant pinata party where the most aggressive person gets the biggest pile. So Larry Fink is the richest guy because he elbowed people in the face the hardest. I mean, that's kind of what it is, actually.
There is a little bit of who and how the system gets worked, but I would disagree that it has been destroyed. I would disagree that because you still have whites in dominant positions everywhere that you can measure.
It's not about whites. It's about people. It's about human beings. Are you going to judge the person on the content of his character, the color of his skin?
But you weren't judging them on the content of their character. And when you see...
No, it's hard to know that.
If you look at corporate studies of diversity does to them, it increases productivity, increases
You're talking about the McKinsey study from 2018, which has been, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's been utterly debunked. And they were selling their diversity consultants.
I'm not referring to that study, but I remember
what you're talking about. There's no study that shows hiring people on the basis of skin color makes a company more effective.
Not on the basis of skin color. It's that you remove the restriction.
There are no restrictions.
That you won't hire them as often because of their skin color. Why not just color?
Then, okay, I have a simple solution for this. It's called standardized testing. And it was created in order to solve the problem that you described, which is bias. And so standardized testing was a good faith effort by the WASPs by the way, who ran the big American universities to be fair. They're trying to be fair. It's like, okay, let's just pick people on the basis of their intelligence, their aptitude. It's an aptitude test.
Right.
And that kind of worked, actually. It elevated not just WASPs, but, Jews and Catholics and black people and everybody was judged on the basis, and it was imperfect, of course, but basically it worked. And it's why America dominated the world, because it had the smartest people in positions of power. And then at the apogee, at the top, we abandoned it. And we're like, oh, this isn't working. What do you mean it's not working? It's totally working. It's working because then we get the cream of all the other countries. The smartest people from around the world move here, including some of my friends. The best. And then we abandoned it. And we're like, well, that's unfair. How is it unfair? It's the definition of fairness. You're judging someone without even knowing what he looks like or his sex on the basis of his performance. How is that unfair? They never explained. They just took it away. And now it's gone. And now in federal contracting, if you're a woman-owned business, why do I have an interest in a woman-owned business? I don't care who owns the business. I just want a good business.
You're ignoring the impact of the Trump administration.
In general, possessions are overrated, but there are some things you really would not want stolen. And to me, family shotguns, including a whole bunch of them I got from my father, are at the top of that list. So I keep my dad's shotguns in a Liberty safe because it's safe and it's also really attractive. Liberty Safe just created something really cool. It's a limited edition safe that commemorates the inauguration of Donald Trump, America's 47th president. The original design celebrates Trump and his swearing in while upholding Liberty's commitment to building their safes right here in the United States. And they went all out on this one. It's the special 47 edition. It features a one-of-a-kind artwork that pays homage to the president. It's very, very cool. Not all safes are created equal. There are plenty out there. And a lot of the manufacturers slap an American-sounding name on the label, but they are not made here. They're from China or other foreign markets. Liberty safes are made in the United States. For over 30 years, Liberty has made its safes right here, and that matters. Because when you buy a Liberty safe, you're supporting American workers and American values. Their products are more than just a place to protect your dad's shotguns, for example. They are a symbol of this country. So celebrate this historic moment. Secure the things that you want to keep forever in a Liberty safe. Visit libertysafe.com or find a Liberty dealer, a retailer near you to order your limited edition safe today. Liberty Safe, made in America.
Which has been...
Well, it's been 6 weeks.
I know, but I'm saying you strip it out, you'll see what happens. I don't think diversity is our problem. And standardized testing, I don't have a problem with it.
I never said diversity was a problem.
I'm not saying you did. I'm stating it as a proposition. What I'm saying is that the testing assumes equal starting points. If you and I are both going to take a standardized test right now in an area that I am prepared for and you're not, then we're not going to do the same.
Well, go ahead and prepare for it then. I mean, I don't know what to say. What's a better way to do it?
The point, well, I'm not saying there's a better way. I'm saying that I don't have a problem with standardized testing. I don't have a problem with SATs and people having to use them to get into educational institutions. I don't have any problem with it. I'm saying that you also have to be open to the reality that the kids aren't going to do the same on the test when one has had a good education and one has not had a good education.
It's not, there's a lot of science behind that. And the truth is darker and harder to deal with. Okay, which is that intelligence is the product of environment to some extent, but it's mostly genetic. And intelligence is a lot of factors in success, but intelligence is the single most important over time in big populations. Smarter populations do better. They make more money. They go to jail less often. They stay married. Singapore is a more successful society than the United States for this reason. Okay, so that's the truth. If you have a meritocratic society, the smartest people will have most of the money and most of the success. And that doesn't seem fair to people, is the truth, actually. And as we got better at sorting the smart people and sending them to Harvard and McKinsey and, on to private equity, it became more obvious. No, it's true, though. It became obvious that the meritocracy was producing an incredibly lopsided society, and that freaked people out, and it felt unfair to them. And two people in the early 1990s wrote a book on it, Dick Herrnstein and Murray, and it was called The Bell Curve. Mm-hmm. And it had a chapter on race in it, which was, made a lot of people mad. They could have taken that chapter out, and it would have been, I think, the transformative book ever, because it described what I just said, which is the meritocracy produces an outcome that you may not be ready for. actually, because it's rooted in nature and you can't change it. And Head Start, which was designed to increase the IQ of poor kids, didn't work. And no one even wants to talk about it anymore. It's really hard to change people's intelligence. And intelligence turns out to be the main predictor of economic success. So these are super complicated questions, but I know that a system that rewards people on the basis of race and punishes others on the basis of race creates hatred and division.
I don't think the point is, I don't think you have to do it that way, is what I'm saying. And I understand.
If I can't get into college, if two people apply to college and they're different colors and the one with a lower SAT score is admitted because of his race, that's penalizing the one.
I understand, which is why it's no longer the law of the country.
It's true in every college in the United States, as you know, especially the selective ones, including the one you went to.
But they changed the law.
They lie. And the Harvard case showed that. You can say they did this with the UC system in California, which was once a great system when I grew up in that state, and it's now a joke because of this. But they basically found out that they were just like, we have too many Asians, can't have too many Asians.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me about the case is that it wasn't white people. It was Asian people who were saying that they were being discriminated against.
So basically the way they shut down the conversation is by making everyone feel guilty about slavery, which no living person had anything to do with at all, and no living person I've ever met supports. I couldn't be more opposed to it. That's why I'm for free speech, because I'm against slavery.
But look, it's not a coincidence that people of color, specifically African American, are at a different socioeconomic level given how they were introduced to the country, right? Because race is completely fabricated. There is no such thing as race. We made it up.
I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean?
You cut open a black guy and a white guy, their genetics are the same.
That's okay.
We made race.
I don't know what you're.
We made race. We made it. We made it a thing. Just because you look different doesn't mean you're a different species. So we created it.
Hold on. No one's saying anyone's a different species.
I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying that
I think we may be getting into science still too deep.
No, I'm saying the science is very simple. Right?
So
we created race. And
wait, hold on. Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. So you're saying that there are no differences between the races? So for example, the genetic predisposition to certain diseases is fake?
There are cultural, there are ethnic.
How is that cultural?
There are ethnic pockets, right? So Italians have certain things that are more common because of that group of animals breeding with each other than you'll have with Irish people or with Polish people. Sure. And then as they all mix,
so you do acknowledge genetics is real?
Of course genetics is real.
Okay, so
genetics is everything. What I'm saying is that race...
Whoa!
What I'm saying that
genetics is everything, but race is fake.
Race is a social construct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, race is a social construct in some ways.
Yeah,
but there's no doubt that there are significant. No,
look, Irish and Italians are different cultures, right? But they're the same people. They're just different cultures. Speak different ways, eat different things.
They're not the same people. They don't look the same, and they're not genetically the same. That's not true.
They are genetically the same.
Well, that's untrue. It's factually untrue. And you can see it in all kinds of ways. What's the percentage of redheads in Sicily? Pretty high?
I doubt it.
Okay. So what you're saying doesn't make any sense
But that doesn't mean it's genetic. It's just where people decide to be.
No, hair color is determined by genetics. It's not a cultural construct.
I know, but I'm saying that having...
and neither is height or eye color or IQ.
Having more redheads in Italy is not just about genetics. It's about where people populate, right? Like you could take look at Sicily, right? Look at the history of Sicily. When North Africa winds up being there, right, and in power, you wind up having that mixed into the chemistry of everybody who's Sicilian.
Because genetics are real. That's exactly right.
But race as a thing, we created.
Okay. I'm not exactly sure I understand the distinctions that you're drawing. I'm just saying that different people, different groups of people, and different individuals have different genetic makeups. And they're not wildly different. We're all members of the same species. We are all created by God. As a Christian, I believe that. But we didn't have these problems when people were Christian because the underlying assumption was that God created everyone. Everyone has a soul. It's only when this became a secular society that hates God that you could treat people like animals and objects. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.